Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, my first review post-Oscars, and today we're going to be talking about not just one of my most anticipated movies from this year, but last year as well for 2024, because this movie has been delayed so many times, and that of course is Mickey 17, written and directed by Bong Joon-ho, starring Robert Pattinson, Naomi Ackie, Yeun, Toni, Collette, and Mark Ruffalo, and this follows Mickey, played by Robert Pattinson, as he joins a space expedition to escape Earth and signs up to become an expendable, where essentially he gets experimented on, they send him into, dangerous terrain, and he dies over and over again. And then, of course, the story starts with our protagonist, the 17th Mickey that they have printed out in their 3D machines. And I know, pretty crazy concept to begin with, but, this is Bong Joon-ho. You should expect something high concept. And of course, the reason I was so excited for this movie is because Parasite was his last film, the Best Picture winning classic that has really not only just broke out so many other just unpredictable and bizarre movies that the Academy would never go for in the past, but also has been considered by many critics and film lovers alike to be one of the greatest movies of all time already in the 6 years since its release. So of course it made the Nathaniel Ahart and Company's top 100 films as well. I think around the top 25. So, it is a very, very beloved film, no doubt about that. And going into this movie, it's hard not to have those astronomically high expectations, because it's like, it has been 6 years. He has had so much time to perfect and, hone the craft that he brought to Parasite, which is a flawless film, I think, from top to bottom. Every time I see that movie, the more details come to light, and the more I appreciate and how it was directed and all, commandeered together. But, of course, I would have to say, I finally did catch up with all of his solo directorial efforts, and he's never made a bad movie, in my opinion. And so it's one of those things where you definitely expect there to be some quality, even though I am not as huge on Snowpiercer, which I do really enjoy, but I don't think it's one of his absolute best, and Oakshow, which I would have said is my least favorite film of his, and those are both his English language features. So, not everything for me translates over 100% with Bong Joon-ho when he works in English. And this movie, look, there's a lot to appreciate about it. And first off, I think the shining star of this film is Robert Pattinson, who just continues to prove just what a tremendous actor he is, and that he's like one of the most versatile and capable actors working today. And he has a very difficult challenge in this role, because he has to play not just one Mickey, but two of them. As you see in the trailer, one gets printed out, there's Mickey 18, there's a bit of a conflict there, it's darkly funny, and what he has to do that is so impressive is he has to basically insinuate that there's a whole other human being with so many different mannerisms, even though he's like playing essentially the same character, but it's not. And it is such a difficult thing to do. And also the fact that I love about Pattinson's performance in this is just the little vocal affectations, like the way, because he narrates a lot of the movie for the first 40 minutes, and even like the decisions he makes to kind of like stutter or like extend a word or hold on a phrase, it's just utterly great comedic timing that I think plays off really, really well and really drew me into the movie, because even though I was a bit put off by the narration at first, because he's like looking at something that's happening in front of him and it's like done in VO, but I'm like, wait, but if you were actually in that situation, wouldn't you just be saying it out loud? Doesn't make sense. But after that, I kind of really got wrapped up in what was going on, the story he was telling. Even though it was very expository, I still really liked the direction that Mickey 17 is going in, especially because Pattinson is just so damn terrific in this. Like, I really can't stress enough, like, this is one of his best performances. I think he's awesome. I think this is like a Golden Globe nomination worthy performance. I really do think that he should get some recognition for this role, more so than he has in the past. And I also love Naomi Ackie in this. This might be the best I've ever seen her in anything. She has such a great screen presence. She's so commanding. She's so present. And she really, really brings her A game to this material. I also think Steven Yeun is pretty great in this as well, and he gets a couple of like really funny scenes where he really gets to chew on what is given to him. And I love the visual effects are really great. I think if this movie gets anything at the Oscars, it is for visual effects, because I really do love the aesthetic of this film. And also it looks pretty seamless, all things considered. Very, very believable, I would say. And the production design is really great as well. You know, this kind of dystopian sci-fi aesthetic. It very much works within the context of this film, and there's some really lavish, details in the production design as well that I think, maybe you could get a production design nomination, but I don't know. I don't know if this movie has long enough legs to get to that point, but we'll get into that. And of course, the sound design is great as well. Darius Khondji really, really gets to do a lot with the camera work in here, and it does feel very dynamic, very fresh, very cinematic, and I did absolutely love that. And of course, as Jung Jae-il, his score is one of the best of the year so far. Especially that iconic Parasite score. It would make sense that he's got the juice to deliver in this film as well. But I'll be honest with you guys. Once it gets to a certain scene in the middle, and it's a dinner scene, you'll know what I'm talking about. It got to, let's say, for a comparison, the Mattel scene in Barbie with Will Ferrell, which I think is easily the worst part of that movie, and I think most people would agree with that. In this scene, it does bring it up a little bit. There's some funny stuff that happens to, go back up on the uptick. But that was when the movie really started to lose me. And by the end, man, I enjoyed Barbie, right? But this made Barbie look like 2001: A Space Odyssey by comparison. My goodness, this movie sucked. I'm sorry, I never thought I would be saying that about a Bong Joon-ho film, of all things. But this shows you how terrible 2025 has been. Not just in regards to current world events, which is even worse, but the movies have absolutely sucked this year. And I feel like nothing has really risen to the level of some of the best films of the year. I think we just got too damn spoiled last year, because we already had Dune Part 2, which ended up being my favorite movie of the entire year, at the end of February. So maybe it is a bit unrealistic of me to have these sorts of expectations, but no! This is the follow-up to Parasite, one of the absolute greatest films in the history of cinema. And what we get here is so much political commentary in the way of Parasite, where, well, not in the way of Parasite, but let me explain. So Parasite, what I love is how it tackles so many ideas politically without ever having to spell them out for you. You have to pick it up yourself, but the writing is so damn precise and so well crafted and executed that you are able to find it. It lets the audience find it on its own. This movie hammers you over the head with all its political themes, but not in a way that feels funny, not in a way that feels, thought-provoking. It just feels like a regurgitation of a lot of ideas. I mean, Mark Ruffalo in this. Look, I love Mark Ruffalo. I think he's one of the best actors out there, and I would have said he's never given a bad performance. But I think this is like his Tom Hanks moment in Elvis, where this is the first time I saw Mark Ruffalo, and I legitimately thought he was terrible in this. And I'm really sorry, because I absolutely love this guy. I have great respect for him as an artist, but he's just doing a terrible and over-the-top, cartoonish, balls-to-the-wall Donald Trump impression that feels more like an impersonation of Trump than Sebastian Stan's performance in The Apprentice. This is absolutely so distracting and just absolutely took me out of the movie every time he was in. Toni Collette is good with what she's given, even though she's a cartoon villain as well as his wife. It's just all that stuff completely sucked me out. And then there's this B-plot that's kind of almost like a love triangle that doesn't work. And there's so many things that happen that come out of nowhere that aren't really set up. I don't understand, even though I have to still commend Pattinson's performance, I'm not really sure why the other Mickey that's printed after him is so different from the one before. Like, they don't really give much rhyme or reason to a lot of these things happening, even though there is, like, little moments where you're like, okay, that's a nice little tidbit to set it up. But the thing is, he bounces back to it and has to show you that this is what happened. He doesn't just let it play out for itself in the way that his best films do, like Mother, like Parasite, like Memories of Murder. I mean, this is absolutely such a far cry from those films, and he's throwing so many ideas at you at once, especially by the end, that it becomes so disorganized, it becomes so unfocused, it just becomes an absolute jumbled mess. And by the end, I was just so sick of this movie's antics. It wasn't really saying anything interesting, I felt, by the end, in a way that is just so heavy-handed and, you know, just absolutely relentless. I just thought that this movie really fell off so hard in a way that I have not seen a movie fall off in a very long time. And by the end, it just kept going on. This felt longer than The Brutalist. And this movie is only like 2 hours and 19 minutes, and that's 3.5 hours. Like, it is insane to me how far Bong Joon-ho could have fallen with this film, because there is so much to appreciate on display in this movie, but it falls so flat on its face that it's really hard to recover from this. And also, I just think the ending, there's some really strange stuff that happens at the end that they do not resolve, that doesn't really make any sense with anything that came before, and I'm just sitting there thinking, what was the point of this fucking movie? Like, I really don't know, and it is just so sad, because I absolutely love Bong Joon-ho. I think he's one of the best filmmakers working, period, throughout the entire world. And for this to be a follow-up to Parasite, 6 years we waited. 6 years. And this is just a colossal disappointment. Like, I really don't know if all these movies are going to keep disappointing for the rest of the year, but I can't imagine that there's going to be a bigger disappointment than this. This absolutely knocked the wind out of my sails in all the wrong ways, even though I do like a lot of what is going on, you know, aesthetically, and, you know, a lot to commend from the production standpoint, and Pattinson, and some of the other performances as well. But Mickey 17 is really such a swing and a miss. It's bonkers, but in a way that doesn't feel earned or intentional, and which is so sad, because Parasite is the definition of intentional. Every single scene in that movie is so perfectly placed and planted and paid off, and you don't get that here. It just kind of meanders off into a bunch of things that don't really add up to much. And so I'm going to give Mickey 17 a 4 out of 10. I'm sorry. I really hate to say this, because, like I said, I am a huge Bong Joon-ho fan, but I mean, I guess you all have to miss it at some point. And I really think that a lot of people are just drinking that Bong Joon-ho juice. Like, they're just, you know, kind of looking at Parasite and be like, oh, more Bong Joon-ho. This movie is not going to age well. I guarantee you that this is not going to be seen as a classic in the years to come. It is going to be reevaluated in a way that I don't think many of his other movies will be. And it's just really unfortunate. This year fucking sucks. I mean, I really don't know what to say. I'm hoping that there's going to be a lot of movies that, you know, turn this whole thing around, and I'm sure there is, because, like, looking at the fall slate really gets me excited. But yeah, this isn't it, guys. I'm sorry. I wish I could be more positive about this. I know a lot of people are really enjoying this, and I honestly don't really know why. But hey, let me know why you love it down in the comments below if you did enjoy Mickey 17. And please smash the like button if you like what I'm doing in this video and you're interested in what I have to say. Stick around and subscribe to see more videos like this, hopefully more positive reviews, because I really don't like coming on here and bashing films, because I really do love when we get to see auteurs like Bong Joon-ho come out and make something. I just wish it was something a lot better based on what he has done in the past. And yeah, so until the next video, guys, please take it easy. I'm going to be still working on the top 5 albums of 2024 video. I should have that be the next video, so please stay on the lookout, and I'll talk to you guys soon.